Hi everyone, my name is Tristan from the CPAPstore.ca. We recently opened a new store in Surrey, BC, Canada, and a lot of customers are coming in and I can see their look on their face when they look at the big wall of masks and they're just thinking, what the heck is the difference between all these masks? I've already made a video talking about every single ResMed mask. You can check that video here. Today we're going to be looking at every single Fisher and Paykel mask. Now we're not looking at legacy Fisher and Paykel masks. These are just the F&P masks that are currently offered by them. They're most modern mask in each category, you could say. Now, before we get started, I just want to talk about compatibility. So if I have an F&P mask with a ResMed tube, will they fit? Yes, they will. So here we have a Climate Line Air 11 tube, and we're just gonna put that on the Vitera here. And there you go, fully compatible. Now, the exception is if you're using like ResMed Air Mini, it uses a different tube system, so you have to use the Air Mini tubes with the ResMed Air Mini if you want to use their HumidX humidity system. If you don't, you just want to use any third-party tube, then you just take your adapter that you can buy. It's a third-party adapter. They're about 20, 25 bucks, and you just pop it in, and now you can use any like Fisher and Paykel tube or Philips tube or ResMed Slimline. You can use that all with the Air Mini here. So don't worry if you do have a ResMed machine, you can still use the F&P mask. I think F&P doesn't even make a machine anymore, so you're gonna have to use a ResMed machine or a Philips or Transcend or something other than that, but you can still use the mask. Now, F&P masks are definitely a very innovative brand when it comes to their masks. I kind of compare them to Tesla. So if ResMed is the Toyota of CPAP masks, they're gonna have what most people need. They have a huge lineup. They have the For Her, the AirTouch. They have something for everyone, and generally they work very well. With the F&P, they're more like Tesla in the sense that they don't have as many masks, and their masks are kind of niche. They all have kind of benefits and features that no other mask will have. And you will see as we go down the line how these features stack up. That being said, sometimes these masks don't fit everybody, and if you look at reviews, sometimes they're a little bit lower than ResMed reviews. But that's not because they're a poor quality mask, a poor build quality mask that people just don't like. It's just they do tend to be a little more hit and miss. People who love them, love them. People who don't like them, don't like them. Simple as that. So we're gonna start with a full face mask. This right here is the Vitera. So what's innovative about the Vitera mask is that its front cushion here actually pushes inwards without disrupting the seal, which is one of the reasons why I like the Vitera mask. It's a full face mask. It goes over the top of the nose and below the mouth, just like that. And as you can see, as you tighten up the mask, the cushion kind of bends to ensure that it's not overly tight and squishing your nose or pinching your nose up here and blocking your nasal airway, okay? It goes on pretty easily. It just has a circle. You line it up on the circle, you push it together, and there you go, it's on just like that. And then for the headgear, we have clips instead of magnets, so really good if you have some sort of medical appliance that you can't use with magnets, you can clip them on just like this, and to take them off, you just twist it and it comes off like that. So pretty easy clip. It's not like the older clips that were on CPAP masks 20 years ago. It's definitely a very nice and improved clip, just like that. Okay, on the front here, we have a ball joint rotation. It has a little like movement and a little play, which is nice. Full circle and then full 360 rotation down here. So really nice movement at the front of the mask. And then we have the stability bar that goes up top here, has a little bit of support near the top of your head and wraps around. Now I know these masks look a little bit intimidating when they do go and have this bar right here, but they're actually not as invasive as they kind of look on the outside because everything is kept away from your sensory input. So some masks will have all the straps down here for the full face mask. You can feel them a little bit more. It's not bad, but you just like the cheek is a little bit more sensitive, you could say. Whereas this mask here, the headgear connects to the frame at the top of the forehead here and goes around. So it's really actually quite away from your sensory input. Now, that being said, you can still see the little bar a little bit. It's not gonna be as minimal as a P10 or a nasal mask, of course, but they're just not as intimidating as they look on the outside. Okay, with this F&P mask, we have an adjustment strap up top here, and you can basically move these little Velcro things up and down to make them a little bit tighter, just like that. And what's kind of nice about this strap here is it's really smooth and flat and flush on the top of the head. Now the downsides of this mask, there are a couple. First thing is, it doesn't have a diffuser. So the F20 from ResMed has the quiet air diffuser. And what's great about that is it diffuses all the air, doesn't blow wind into your partner. It's very quiet, very low wind. The Vitera, on the other hand, has just a bunch of little holes and it definitely shoots out a lot more air just straight forward because it doesn't have a fabric diffuser. Now the Pros of that, however, is that if you have COPD or you find it hard to exhale with a CPAP mask and you don't want to use as much EPR settings, for example, it is easier to exhale out of mask without as hardcore of a diffuser. So it's easier to exhale and a lot easier to clean. You can clearly look at it and see if it's clean. You can wipe it and know it's clean, whereas the quiet air filter, you will have to replace them because you can't get to the filter the way ResMed designed it. The other flaw with this mask, you could say, is with those with bald heads. We did have a comment recently saying that the FMP masks weren't great with bald heads because the top strap here has this little Velcro that allows it to move back and forth and adjust the top strap. But this Velcro is actually kind of rough actually. And this person that they commented said they had a mark and some irritation at the top of the head. So they have to put a Band-Aid on this mask. Yes, it's a pretty easy fix. You can just put a Band-Aid on the mask and this sharpness won't hurt you, but that is something to note. A lot of people who do use CPAP are typically older and men, and of course, all men bald at some point. And if I take this Velcro here and I just kind of scratch it on my skin there, you can probably see some mark there. Okay, and that's from this top Velcro. So you might want to tape that off or something like that if you are bald. However, if you do have hair, you're not going to notice this at all. I actually didn't notice it ever until we got that comment, and I was like, oh, this is actually something worth talking about. So that's the Vitera. Very good mask for high pressures. Good full face mask, great alternative to the F20, and I think it's actually a little bit more comfortable than the F20 because of the way the cushion is designed. Next thing is the Evora full face mask. So this is a hybrid full face mask. This goes underneath the nose, a little less invasive, you could say, a little bit better if you want to keep your glasses on while reading. Just goes below the nose and down here at the mouth, okay? Now this mask here is very similar to the F30 or the F40 from ResMed, being a hybrid full face front mounted mask. There are some pros and there are some cons with this mask that we're gonna go over. So one of the pros is that by and large, it seems like that this mask is one of the best high pressure hybrid masks out there. For a lot of people, they find that if they're going on those high pressures, those 20 pressure, 25 pressure on the BiPAP, maybe even 15 plus, the FMP Evora really holds those leaks. The way the headgear is shaped and the way you can adjust it at 5 points of contact, just on the sides here and at the top, really allow you to press the mask firmly on your face without it feeling overly tight, while still being able to keep those leaks down and minimized. So it's a really good high pressure hybrid full face mask. Now the cons of this mask, there are a couple. With typical FMP fashion, we don't have a real diffuser down here. There's just holes. So if you want a low wind mask, this is probably not the mask for you. Again, if you want a mask easy to exhale, if you have COPD, whatever, really easy to exhale out of this mask. The other con is that there's no rotation, there's no ball joint at the front. It would have been nice if they had a similar, just a rotation, just one level of axis to spin around the tube. So as the tube moves, there's a little bit of tension that builds up just because there's no swivel or rotation there. And then, like we mentioned before, the top has that Velcro. So if you are bald, you might want to tape this off. So great for some people, not so great for others. In terms of cleaning though, FMP always makes their masks probably some of the easiest masks to clean in the world or all of the CPAP industry. I think that's why they minimize things like diffusers and ball joints and rotation stuff, because you can really break this mask down very easily and there's no real bad ridges anywhere. It's super clear, super nice, high quality plastic. Everything pops off. You can really hear how high quality this sounds, just the snap of the mask, sounds really good and easy to clean, easy to break apart. Just it has some comfort quirks. Okay, next we'll move on to some nasal masks. Here we have the Eson 2. Now the Eson 2 is very similar to the N20 mask, but I actually really like the Eson 2 for a few reasons. One of the first reasons is it has the front bar that goes in front of your eyes. Yes, it looks a little bulky, maybe not as sexy, but it does keep everything away from your sensory input and it's a very comfortable mask to wear. The mask also features the same thing as the Vitera mask, where the cushion has a little bit of give, and so if you put this pressure onto your nose, there's a little bit of pressure relief there, just so it doesn't feel overly tight on your nose. I think this is a small cushion, so this is a medium. Okay, so yeah, it goes right over there and feels nice and soft. And if I even push it with my hand, it doesn't feel like overly pressured, which is really nice. I think that this is one of the most comfortable nasal masks out there. Now, what I also really like with the ESON is that it has a proper diffuser, so proper fabric diffuser up there. And the ESON is actually one of the quietest masks in the CPAP market, which is kind of funny because in contrast, the N20 is actually one of the loudest nasal CPAP masks in terms of wind and exhaling the air. And that is because of the diffuser. So they almost swap places for this style of mask. What's also nice about the ESON is that the front diffuser here actually comes off. So like I was saying, if you have COPD or you want an easier to exhale mask, it has those holes. It's gonna make it more windy, but easier to exhale. But you can wash and clean the diffuser so easily, and you can choose whether or not you wanna use it or not. Front ball joint like that, front swivel movement like that, and 360 rotation down here. So really nice dynamic performance at the front of the mask with a really nice customizability with the diffuser there. This has clips here, so really good if you have a pacemaker or some other medical appliance that can't use magnets. So that's the ESON. Really good nasal mask if you are at those high pressures and you don't want to use a full face. Typically these front mounted nasal masks are a really good option for high pressure nasal users. Okay, next up we have the Bravita nasal mask. Similar benefits to the ESON. We have the popping on and off removable diffuser here. Great for exhaling or COPD if you remove the diffuser. If you put the diffuser on, super quiet, super nice mask. Rotation in the front, 360 swivel, all that good stuff. So it sounded like a broken record here, is that it's really easy to clean. So if I take off the front cushion here, super easy to wipe down anything in there. And then the cushion itself, again, super easy to clean and wipe down. I have some fuzzies from the tablecloth here, from my little blanket. Shouldn't be on there. The Bravita has a very minimal headgear, almost similar to a P10. The difference is it doesn't arc up like a P10. So if you look at a P10 or an N30, for example, you can see that there's plastic pieces in here that arc the headgear up. So it's kind of nicely around your ear and doesn't touch it. I do find that the Bravita sometimes touches my ear, and the Bravita in theory is a really good mask. It has everything going for it, but in terms of fitment, I do find it to be one of those more hit or miss masks, especially on Google. Some people were saying like it's 80% of the way there, but there's nothing really one thing that's bad about the Bravita mask in terms of just the fact that it fits some people and it doesn't fit others. It leaks with some people and it doesn't leak with others, like all CPAP masks. The pillows are one thing worth talking about. So it's almost like a half pillow, half cradle design. It goes under your nose, and you actually put this mask on once you already turn your CPAP machine on, so there's air blowing through there. If you don't, these pillows sometimes can get like kind of inverted like that. So you just want to make sure that you turn your machine on and then you put the mask on. And the whole cushion really just inflates those pillows and creates a nice seal around your nose. Like I talked about, some people can't use this mask. Some people it just leaks, and some people it works amazingly. So it's really kind of hit or miss with this guy here. But if it does work for you, it's a great alternative to the P10. And it has, again, clips, no magnets on this mask here. Okay, next up we're gonna talk about the Micro. Kind of undo this little tangle a little bit. The Micro here is actually even more similar to a P10 in terms of being just a minimal mask. And I don't want to compare it to the P10, but the P10 is just such a well-known mask that I kind of have to. Everyone knows it. It's the world's most popular mask. We sell tons of them. But if you do want an alternative to the P10, the Micro actually might be your answer. It has some really good similarities and some benefits as well. So the Micro is the smallest CPAP mask on the market. It's completely cloth in terms of the headgear, so you can fold it up just like this. I think the whole thing is around 38 grams. What's nice about it is that it actually has an adjustable headgear here. So if I put it on, it's not just like elastic material. We have elastic material right in the back there, but if I put this guy on here, and I don't have a mirror, so there's probably gonna be some twisties, so forgive me, but you can actually pull these straps to tighten them and adjust them exactly how you like. So that's a really nice aspect of this mask that you don't get on fully elastic masks such as a P10. The cushion's also really easy to clean, really easy to take off. Again, put this mask on when you have pressure flowing through it. Otherwise, these pillows do tend to kind of invert. Again, pillow mask is kind of a cradle pillow, goes kind of underneath throughout the nostril and then inflates here to create a nice seal. In terms of the headgear, has a nice 360 swivel, okay, on this tube. It's really all you need. Look how tiny it is. It is absolutely minuscule. The one drawback with the FMP, again, no real diffuser on here, but that's actually one of the biggest drawbacks with the P10. So with the FMP, we just have a bunch of little tiny holes here, which makes it a lot easier to exhale. It is a little more windy compared to some other masks. However, it's easy to exhale. With the P10, it's the complete opposite. They have that plastic mesh material. And although the plastic mesh makes it really quiet, it's a little harder to exhale. So that's the Micro. If you're looking for a travel mask or just a really lightweight nasal mask, I think the Micro might surprise you. It's a very, very, very just solid mask. It's just so minimal. There's not a lot of areas of irritation or anything like that. You can see that the headgear does bend up, unlike the Bravita. This is a newer mask, so maybe they learned some lessons there, but I think a lot of people, if you're looking for a minimal mask, the Micro, or the Nova Micro as it's fully called, is a really good mask to try. Now moving on to more FMP innovation. They always come up with some wild stuff. Like some of it works and some of it, doesn't work, but I have to give them a round of applause just for making things that are pretty cool. And the Solo is one of those things. Again, it's completely different, completely new. It's one of their newest masks, and it's very, very innovative. So what's innovative about the Solo is that it has a seatbelt type of mechanical hinge cable design underneath the headgear. So it looks like this is just a elastic fabric headgear, but actually inside there's cables that run back and forth with a locking mechanism. And so when you pull the mask apart, it actually goes back together like this automatically, okay? But if you put the mask on, which you can easily do one-handed, I just did it without even thinking about it, and you push it in, it kind of locks in place there. So I'll separate this out here, push it in, and it creates a nice firm lock, and now it's nice and solid on my nose without having any like elastic feel, any extra tension. And if I want, I can really push it, with my hands, of course, but then yeah, put it on the mask, push it snug like a seatbelt on each side, and there you go. Now it's nice and secure on my face. So one of the best headgears probably to come out of the CPAP world of all time. The downside with the FMP, again, is that it's a little bit noisy, has the holes diffusers, no real cloth diffuser, so it does tend to be a little bit noisier of a mask. Also, the tube design here is just an oval. It doesn't really come off easily. It's not that swivel that you get with the Micro, and which that's something that I really would have liked. I could have lived without, I understand that the little holes have kind of a pro and con. They are very easy to exhale, even though they're a little bit noisier. But the tube being not a swivel is just something that I'm like, you did it on the Micro. You did it, a small design on the Micro. Why couldn't have you put this same technology here? But other than that, it's a very comfortable mask, a very nice nasal mask. It's coming out in the pillow variant in the future as well. And also you can break it apart just like that and clean it very easily. So that's the Solo. I guess the main benefit of this for people who are trying to figure out if this is the mask for them, if you have arthritis, if you want no clips, if you need a one-hand design that you can just put on and you can get the correct fit every single time with one hand, then this is probably the mask for you, or at least a mask for you to try. Similar in this category, we have the Evora nasal mask. So this is kind of before the Solo existed. I think they were going for the same idea here though. And again, this mask features a baseball cap design, so it's another one-handed mask, just like that, okay? Super cool. So if you have arthritis, if you have lack of mobility, it's a very easy mask to put on and off. On the downside here, they didn't invent the Solo technology, the seatbelt technology yet. It's a little bit firmer, and sometimes, depending on the person, it can touch the ears or kind of rub incorrectly, or because it's not that flexible. Some people find it to be a higher leak mask. You can't put your nose in there as properly as some other masks. So again, it's that hit or miss mentality with the FMP. But not to sound like a broken record, but if you want a one-hand, easy operation baseball cap mask, FMP will give it to you, and they're the only ones who make a mask like this. No swivel on the front, which is kind of something that I wish they would change, just the holes, no real diffuser. So if they could combine like the Bravita ESON diffuser with the one-hand style mask and the Micro like swivel, I think they would probably decimate the CPAP mask market. But until we get there, I'm gonna have to say that these FMP masks are a little bit quirky. Great, amazing for some people, and a little quirky for others. Let me know what you think of these masks, if you love them or hate them in the comments below. Please subscribe if you found this video useful, and I hope it saved you a trip to the sleep clinic, and it was an informative video for the 20-minute mark I was trying to aim for. All right. If you didn't like the video, let me know in the comments what you would change. Have a great day, everybody.